Well, back from Florida playing golf in basically 90-degree heat for 3 straight days. It was awesome. I love it. The hotter the better, honestly, for me to play golf. I know I'm a little bit weird like that, but I remember playing in Florida when I first started playing in my 20s, living down there, and I kind of got used to it. And there's nothing like kind of being on a golf course and the birds are chirping, the sun is shining, and you're sweating. I mean, you can sweat a little bit too much, but it was pretty cool. Had a great time with a lot of friends that I see once a year, and like 20, 21 year, 21 guys, but I've known them for like 25 years, most of them. It was really cool, but it's great to be back. It's great to be, talking here with you on Sal's house. Welcome into Sal's house, a very special episode that I have tried to make happen for a while. And thankfully, finally, it's come together at the right time, the perfect time to be able to talk to my two guests tonight. Before I do that, of course, always want to thank my sponsor, Sports City Pizza Pub, 1407 Niagara Street in Buffalo. They have so many great things going on at Sports City Pizza Pub: wings, pizza, the games, all the games. And how about this? I want to show you this right here, okay? That's Sports City Pizza Pub. You can see that on your screen. On June 7th, it's going to be celebrating 20 years of Sports City. Now, I haven't always been at Sports City. They were great pizza, Bella Roma. You're going to have throwback pizzas from the early days, drink specials all night. Sports City Pizza Pub. That is at, again, 1407 Niagara Street in Buffalo. Go check them out. I love the pizza, the wings, the great atmosphere. You're going to love it too, especially this time of year when you're watching playoff hockey and playoff basketball and all the baseball games that are around. There's no better place. So, all right, let's get to our special guests. I mean, these two guys, I've really had the real great pleasure of getting to know them and their family. And first, started getting to know Reid Ferguson when he came to the Bills, really under the Rex Ryan regime way back in 2016. And he's been with the Bills ever since. And his brother, Blake Ferguson, gets drafted by the arch rival Miami Dolphins. The Ferguson brothers, the long-snapping brothers. Welcome into Sal's house, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks for having us on, Sal. Appreciate it.
Sal, you know what? As you were talking about the Sports City Pizza Pub, it brought up some amazing memories of some fantastic wings that I had there. And I was just thinking back about how awesome those wings were. I don't even remember what flavor they were. I think it was like a mystery concoction that the gentleman, I can't remember his name, that owned the place, he put together for us. But that place rocks.
So, it is. I appreciate you saying that for someone from coming out of town too, and spending that weekend here with your brother, and we all kind of met up, and it was really an awesome time. Yeah, that was maybe the honey garlic barbecue. Oh my God, they were so good. They might be my favorite now. Amazing. Reid, am I taking you away from an 8-1 Yankees lead right now over the Astros? Look at this. This is great, isn't it? I'm wearing my Bronx Bombers.
That's part of the reason. Honestly, that's part of the reason why I hopped on early, because I was like, oh, okay, it's 8-1. I got nothing to worry about. I have a TV here in my office. I don't even have it on because I'm so confident. But I mean, golly, I got nothing. I got nothing further to say. The Yankees are killing it this year.
I mean, they go out and they beat the Astros to start the season with that sweep, and then they beat them 10-3 on Tuesday night.
It was even better to see in person. I was there on opening day.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh yeah, in Houston. That's right. That's very cool.
It was incredible.
It's 8-2 now. If anything changes, we'll let you know. And you're going to be like, I got to get off and watch what's going on. Cardiac Clay is in. I got to go see. Make sure he doesn't blow it. So hopefully that doesn't happen. We're going to have some fun tonight. I want to ask you guys about grown-up Ferguson, grown-up long snappers playing in the NFL against each other. Let's just start there. Let's start with life outside of football. Blake, what was it like in the Ferguson household with your brother, who's, I believe, 3 years older than you, Reid? Growing up, Ferguson, off the field, just inside the house. What was it like?
Competing all the time. We were competitive in everything that we did, whether it was finishing dinner first so that we could go up and play Nintendo 64, or playing baseball or football or kickball in
Nerf basketball in the hallway.
Yeah, Nerf basketball in the hallway upstairs. It didn't really matter. Basketball in the driveway with some of our neighbors. Like, we were competing in everything that we did. And I was on a different podcast last week, and I was telling the guy that I was talking to that I really do think that it was poetic justice that Reid and I ended up on division rival teams in the NFL, because like you can't write it any better than for two brothers who've competed against each other as brothers, but as bitter rivals for their whole lives. to now be playing each other twice a year and competing for playoff spots as bitter rivals. So that would be the word. Competing, competitiveness would be the word that I would describe in our household for sure.
And how did that competitiveness go, Reid? I mean, did you get the better of him? Did he get the better of you? Was it kind of even back and forth?
I wasn't going to bring it up, but since Blake, I mean, you could just allude to the fact that, maybe our childhood competitiveness is mirroring the record between us so far. It's
man.
7,
Wow.
8-1, I think we're at right now.
It is too early in the podcast to be getting into this.
I know. Well, he asked. I wasn't going to bring it up.
I have a brother who's 3 years older than me, and there got to a point where, like, he was an athlete growing up, but I was, my brother wouldn't mind me saying that. I became the better athlete. He got into different things, but there was a point where I kind of took over the reins. You know what I mean? Even though I was younger than him. Did that ever happen with you, Reid? Where Blake took over the reins?
You're gonna tell the truth.
Yeah, well, I can't. Yeah, I mean, he's taller than me. At this point, I think he's bigger than me. He's better looking than me. I don't know if he's smarter than me. He may be smarter than me. I think I'm pretty smart, but he may be smarter than me. He's passed me, and he's definitely surpassed me in a few categories.
He's faster
So
than you.
I'm really clinging on to, what do you say?
He's faster.
Faster than you.
Faster than me. Not on Madden though. Not on Madden.
That's hilarious.
So this football rivalry is, I'm really just clinging on to the Bills and Dolphins rivalry. But yeah, I mean, it's similar to you and your brother.
Yep.
Once you both pass the age of 10, right? You're kind of 9 and 12,
Yep.
10 and 13, 11 and 14. You start the playing field starts to level out mentally and physically, right? We're playing video games, we're playing in the backyard, whatever it is. We start to the games become closer. The game, he starts beating me, whatever it is. He starts figuring out that if he just plays with Oregon on NCAA football and throws a Hail Mary every time, they're going to catch it, 5 or 6, 7 times a game, and he's going to beat me. And that's just the way it goes. But
let's just say in driveway basketball, I learned to protect the fadeaway from the elbow because I was not going against my brother down in the paint.
All right,
he was older than me and taller than me at the time. I learned to get away from his.
You had to learn a finesse game a little bit more, right?
Yes.
Because of that. Now
I
will say though, let me ask you this, Blake, be honest. I will admit I was a tag along with my brother. My brother got mad that I had to go everywhere he went with his friends, and he'd be like, Mom and Dad, he's 3 years younger than me. He doesn't hang out with my friends. Were you the same way? Did you no, I want to go hang out with you and your friends because you guys are cool?
Yeah, there were definitely times where I wanted to hang out with them, or he would have a friend coming over that I would want to kind of participate in what they were doing. But I think Mom did a pretty good job setting some boundaries and making sure that I wasn't infringing on their time because she knew that when I had friends over that Reid probably wasn't going to be infringing on my time with my buddies or whatever. So but no, I mean, I would say like when it came to playing sports or having friends that were in the neighborhood or whatever, like we had other friends that we would play with, and we were kind of a group of guys that we would play together. So it wasn't ever uncomfortable, where I had to be like the tag along little brother. At least it didn't feel that way. Maybe Reid was gracious enough to just include me.
What about getting into football? Were you into football already, Reid, and then Blake got in later? Like, how did all that come about to you guys? Was it kind of a joint thing?
Yeah, I started when I was in 5th grade. That was my first year of football, and then obviously played all the way through middle school. Yep. And I didn't pick up snapping until I was in 8th grade. But Blake, I don't remember what year your first year was. Maybe.
Yeah, I want to say Mom and Dad had a rule about how old we had to be before we could start playing. I think I was in 4th grade. But yeah, it was fourth, 5th grade, and then
okay.
You were
So we both started around the same age, but I started snapping when I was in 8th grade. Blake started when he was in 7th grade. He and to allude to my earlier point, I started in when I was 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I was trying to just make and get out there on the field as a tight end and a D end, and I wasn't cutting it. And Blake was out there catching touchdowns as a wide receiver and a tight end. So like he
my friends
definitely
never believed me.
the athleticism trait maybe is tilting the scale towards Blake a little bit, which is fine, but I think we kind of both started around the same
Yep.
age. We kind of picked up snapping. He saw me picking up the snapping and kind of having some success with it. When I was in 8th grade, he would have been in 5th grade. By the time I was a sophomore in high school at Buford, we had already moved, and I think that's when Blake started to pick it up when he was in 7th grade, and started going to the camps with me and all that kind of all that good stuff. We were practicing in the backyard in the garage, whatever it was, with Dad. So it was. I would say we both followed a pretty similar path, pretty close.
What other sports did you play, Blake? I mean, you said, the athleticism. Look, I mean, you guys are in the NFL, so you can downplay it a little bit, but you got to be tremendous athletes just to be where you are. And you got to run down the field and tackle people. What other sports did you guys play?
I was a basketball player, and that was really like the sport I loved to play. I was outside shooting hoops every single day, even if it was by myself. And then Reid was a baseball player. He was a pitcher. He played some basketball, but basketball I would say came more naturally for me because I was tall, lanky, long arms. I was always one of the taller guys in my class, and so that was one that came a little more naturally for me. I stopped growing in like 7th, 8th grade. Guys were starting to catch up to me. And, I saw football as a better opportunity to continue playing in high school and then obviously at the next level. And so after 7th grade, going into 8th grade, I quit and just started doing football after that. But that was really when we were starting to get into the long snapping thing, which was going to dominate the rest of both of our time in high school, middle school, and then high school, just because of the time and number of reps that it takes to really get good enough to earn a Division I scholarship. You really don't have a lot of time to play other sports at that
What
point.
about other positions? Like Reid, did you play? Like you said, like DN or whatever. I mean, I can't imagine. Here you are. You're a tremendous athlete. I mean, you're in the NFL, like I said, but you're at high school. Does the high school coach at Buford, I think you said it was, does he say, yeah, just concentrate on long snapping, or do they put you elsewhere?
So flip the tables a little bit. I played, I played all 5 positions on the offensive line, mostly center and guard. I actually filled in for tackle one season while left tackle, his name was Vidal Alexander. He actually got a scholarship, full ride to LSU, and we went at the same time. So that was kind of pretty cool. But he had Julian Barr syndrome. You can look that up. Very rare for I think he was out maybe the whole season or a good majority of the season, our junior year. And so I kind of filled in at left tackle for the most of that year and kind of got some good experience playing all 5 positions on the O-line, and as well as snapping too. So
dude was 225 pounds, wolfing down peanut butter and jelly sandwiches between classes to be able to sit
225 running power I.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow, that's
running
great. What about you, Blake?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it was good.
Blake, you play other positions?
I did. I did it earlier in my high school career. What Reid did not share was that towards the end of his high school career, his senior year, actually, he tore a ligament in his thumb playing offensive line. He was already full
Senior
ride to
day.
LSU, like number one long snapper in the nation, ready to roll, going to be a LSU Tiger. Tears a ligament in his thumb going into the playoffs, state playoffs that season, and ultimately putting his scholarship at risk. And so that was my freshman year. Going into my sophomore year after Reid had moved on to LSU, we had a conversation with the coach because I was already starting to garner some recruiting attention, and we were really good in high school. In my career, we only lost one game my entire high school career. So they did not need me to play another position. Like
Right.
they weren't
Wow.
dying to, for me at tight end, to go out there and catch passes. And so we had a conversation with the coach and said, hey, look, like this is what I want to do. And we're already, I was the only one on the team that knew how to long snap. And he just said, hey, look, like I totally understand. Do your thing, don't get hurt, and just be really good at long snapping. And so sophomore through senior year, I was fortunate enough to just long snap. And so it really gave me a lot of dedicated time on task in practice to spend really perfecting my craft as I went throughout high school, because a lot of the time Reid had to wake up, at 5 a.m. and snap in the driveway with dad before school, because most of his time at football practice was spent offensive line or playing defensive end. And then, you get a period or two of punt or field goal. But for me, like I was able to spend a lot of that time at practice really working on my craft. And so I feel very fortunate for that, for sure.
Very cool. I want to get into the college years, and then we'll get into you guys in the NFL. I want to remind everybody, Sports City Pizza Pub, 1407 Niagara Street in Buffalo. Thanks a lot for being a part of Sal's House. We got a lot of cool stuff happening with them, and of course here on Sal's House as well. All right, so LSU. I mean, you guys did you both grow up in Atlanta? I mean, right? You did that? Because I want to ask how this guy here, a special guest coming in right now, Kevin Ferguson, Reid and Blake's dad. Perfect segue to ask him, how did you let these boys get out of Atlanta and Tennessee, where you went, to go to LSU? Thanks for joining us, by the way, Kevin.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you having me.
How'd you let these guys get to LSU? I mean, you're a Tennessee guy yourself, right?
I am a Tennessee guy, born there, raised there. That's I remember walking the sidelines as a kid. Tracy and I met there, but yeah, I mean, I think it just goes back to, of course, with Reid when he first started being recruited, and like with many other recruiting stories, guys will tell you that sometimes the first team on the radar is the one that, you build that relationship with, and that's the one that hooks you. And, as a long snapper, you do have to, promote yourself a bit, and I think, Reid did that well, as did Blake. But, I think in the end, they just maintained that relationship and, really cultivated it for Reid. And, then, Blake was a similar story, but slightly different. But I think they just, they were one of the first ones, and Reid kind of fell in love with, all things Baton Rouge and the trips and everything about it.
What does your hoodie say, by the way? Something with Blake on it. I see Blake's. What does it? What does your hoodie say? Can I even ask?
Bachelor party.
My bachelor party hoodie.
Oh man,
Yes,
bachelor party.
I'm rocking the
Blake's boots and brews.
He must have left the pink cowgirl hat in the trunk.
There it is. There it is. So for everybody who's listening, watching, Blake is getting married. Congratulations on July 5th. We're actually going to be, we'll be at the Savannah Bananas game that night, by the way, here in Buffalo.
Let's go.
Oh,
Yeah, they're coming to Buffalo, taking the Little League team to see that. So, congratulations to you. That's super cool. So here's what they said, Kevin. I just want to catch you up. They said life in the Ferguson household was very competitive. No matter what they were doing, they were always competitive. Reid did kind of give the nod a little bit later to Blake with the athleticism, but he basically said, like, he kind of bullied him a little bit when they were younger. But I want to ask you, was either of them easier as a baby or a child, or were they both the same? Were they different? How different were they?
Wow. Woo. I don't know. I should be careful how I answer that.
Yes.
And we're all done.
Yeah, and we're done. No, I think both of them and I even tell people now that ask me, are there any tips? I think most people that would tell you, and I've not raised girls, but I think there's typically the old saying of boys are maybe a little harder, and then they get easier as they get older, and girls are the reverse. They're easier, and then they may get harder when they are older. But for the boys, they were both, pretty easy to deal with when they were young. They were both, very, very large as babies and as kids, and that brought some uniqueness to when they played sports, and especially for Reid, with just, as he's growing up, it's, he's much larger than everybody else. And so, there's, just teaching him to, you know, be careful and be kind at daycare. And then
He had to
coming
wear
into
the sticker on his helmet because he was overweight.
What?
well, and then coming into, you
No, I
start
did
playing
not.
football, then you kind of got to, you start playing football, and then you
I
got to
got
reverse
under.
all of that, right?
Yeah.
And so,
I got
but
under. I did not have an R on my helmet, Blake.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I know. Oh my
but
God. I mean, well, yeah, go ahead,
yeah.
Kevin.
No, I'm just going to say it. Blake, I would say Reid had probably a little bit more interest in sports. That was probably a little bit different. Blake was probably leaned a little bit more into like the arts and things like that, and just school in general. And some of those things came a little bit easier for him. But then as Reid started getting into football and the snapping, and Blake took a little bit more interest, and just kind of went from there.
Listen, I just want to. This is a great shot I found of you, all you guys, your family. There you go. There's the Ferguson family there. You can see it.
Fantastic.
Your mom, your wife, Kevin Tracy, right there. You guys, LSU. I don't know where this picture was necessarily taken, but I do want to point out that every time I look for a picture, I see Blake and how come I never can find Reid wearing an LSU uniform and Blake down on the sidelines? Did you guys not take pictures when you were there? The only ones I found were Blake wearing his uniform and Reid going down to visit him and being on the sidelines.
I was at every game.
There's definitely some out there,
Okay.
but all of those pictures have Blake with long hair.
Wow, there you go. There you go. The other ones that I found, I will tell you, all just seem to have, Blake's got a trophy. He's got a football right there. There you go. I love it. There it is. Thank you for. Wait, let me put that up on the screen. Hold on. I have to get rid of this thing. Hold on. There we go. There you go. Put that up there. There you go. I love it.
There you go.
That is a
That was
great
that was
shot.
that was post ponytail.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're at LSU, and Kevin, thanks for your time. Before I let you go, I just want to ask about just what it is like having two long snapping sons in the NFL. It's a rare feat to anybody have two kids play professional athletes. Here you have two of them against each other twice a year, if not three times a year, which has been the last couple of years, obviously. And you guys are a family that it's a house divided at times, but I'm sure it's also one that's very united.
Yeah, I mean, I think the boys would tell you that when we started down that road, the goal was really to first play on Friday. They would tell you that story, play on Friday night, then, look for an opportunity to play on Saturday. And then, I don't know that we ever really had NFL in our plans per se, but yeah, I think it's been a great journey. At some point, they know it's not something forever. It's also not their identity. Their identity is in the Lord, which we're grateful for, and we tried to instill that in them when they were kids, and I think they've carried that forward and represented that well. But at the same time, I think they're just trying to do the very best that they can in the role that they're placed in. And Tracy and I have just tried to instill good values in them, ensure that they're good citizens, they're good men, they raise good families, and that's really what it's all about. I mean, it's beyond cool. It's great to, as you said, to have one in the NFL. The chances of them both being in the NFL are astronomical, but we're there. I think they would just tell you the same thing. They're very grateful because they know it won't last forever, but you enjoy it while you can. There's a lot of good things that come along with it. It opens a lot of doors. It creates a lot of opportunities. But at the same time, they would also, I think, tell you, just like I would, that the journey was not easy. It's comes with a lot of sacrifices, just like any other, you know, player for any other sport would probably tell you as well. There's a lot of, you know, missed opportunities with friends and a lot of vacations or a lot of whatever that's, you know, you give up. But, you know, once you see some of those goals and opportunities in front of you, I think you then start to realize that it's worth it. You know, Christmases and holidays, all those things,
Yeah.
they look very, very different for us, and you just adjust to it. But it's an amazing journey. I mean, it is absolutely amazing, and you know, I get just the same amount of joy watching them on a Sunday afternoon, even though they've been both now been playing for a lot of years. It's still as exciting for me when they run out to warm up as it was the first time they got to start on Friday night in high school.
That's awesome.
So
Is
It's
it
just a little less nerves this time.
does it get easier? Does it get easier to go through another wedding now that you went through one? Now you're going through another one.
Well, I mean, the first one was a little different, right? Because that was during COVID, so it was like
Oh
there
yeah,
was like
okay,
5 of
gotcha.
us at the wedding. So, but yeah, this one's going to be a little different, and so yeah, you know, Reid's got an amazing family, and Blake's about to start an amazing family. So, you know, we could not be more, you know, blessed. Tracy and I, you know, we've had great careers. Mine's still going. I've turned the corner with a new opportunity, and
Awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's just there's some amazing things that, you know, we've just been so blessed as a family, and you know, I'm grateful that the boys, you know, and our relationships, you know, with them are, sorry for my light,
Yep.
but our relationship with them is, you know, still very close, and I think us as a
Great.
family, we're still very, very close, and I think people see that, and that's really important to us.
Well, thank you for doing this. And, you know, you do have a special family, and my family is fortunate to know you and, you know, Yana and Max, and, you know, they're big fans of both you guys and your whole family. So thanks a lot. And, you know, I really appreciate you doing this. And we're really lucky to have all of you guys and, you know, a big part of our community here. And Kevin, I'm sure we're going to see each other again very soon. Let's play some golf. Thanks for jumping on here. And I'm going to spend a little more time with your boys here, but thank you so much for surprising us with this appearance.
All right, buddy. Well, you know, I appreciate our friendship. I love you, and I'm excited to play golf with you very, very soon. I'll be in Orchard Park in a few weeks, so
All right.
maybe we can connect.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Kevin. Appreciate it. Want to say
All right,
bye to your
buddy.
dad?
Talk to you soon.
There you
See
go.
you, fellas.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's Kevin Ferguson, Reid and Blake's dad. Very cool. You guys have a great family, no doubt. And it is tough when you want to root for your family to succeed, but you are a rival. What is that like? So, Reid, you know, I mean, you're in a division race, playoff race. You want your brother to have every perfect snap, I'm sure, every single time he steps on the field. But you also don't want the Miami Dolphins to take the division from you and win games. So how do you balance that when you're watching them from afar, basically, not even on a Sunday afternoon when they're playing opposite you? You might be playing on a Sunday at 1 and then you're watching them at 4. How do you do that?
So I think that's a great question. I think last year, honestly, was a great example. You know, I think it was, gosh, maybe early December. And again, this is how I feel. Blake, I'm assuming you feel the same way. So I think we were like 2 games back of the division. This was early December.
Mhm.
The Dolphins were playing Tennessee on, I think it was like Thursday night, maybe, Blake, or Monday night.
Monday night.
Monday night.
Monday Night Football. I think we had won that. I think we had won that Sunday or something, and we were, I don't know, two games back or something. And you know, I think if you look at the chances, it was like 20%, whatever chance it was. It was not very high that we would come back and overtake to win the division, even if we kind of won out, whatever, all the scenarios. And you look, and you know, I'm watching the whole game, and the Dolphins are up by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter with like 3 minutes left, and I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, all right, you know, I'm about to turn it off because it's over, right? 2 touchdowns, 2.5 minutes left. Like that never happens. And it legitimately never happens. I think it was like the first time in 700 games or something that whatever. I'm not going to get into it.
What's
but
the point?
I don't want to rehash. Sorry, I'm trying not to rehash it. But my point is, I am cheering for the Titans. I want Blake to do well.
Right.
But the Buffalo Bills pay my bills, right? I'm playing for the Buffalo Bills. I love playing for Buffalo. I love the people up here. I'm playing for the people up here. We're trying to win a world championship, just like the Miami Dolphins are trying to win a world championship, right? So I am rooting for every scenario that helps us achieve that goal. First step in that goal, win the division, right? So we're 2 games back in early December with, 5 weeks left. And Tennessee comes back. I am just over the moon excited. I'm texting Blake and telling him that he had a great game because he did, right? Like I'm zoned in on the snaps. I am elated that he has done a great job for his 4 years that he's been down there. Am I cheering for the Miami Dolphins to lose? Yeah. Is Blake cheering for the Buffalo Bills to lose? Yeah. Like that's the honest truth. Am I wrong, Blake?
No,
like
that. I would say
you're obviously cheering for each other, but
yeah, 100%. And
the ultimate goal of getting a ring on your finger, what are the steps that it takes to get in to do that? You got to beat the team in front of you and root for scenarios where it helps you get in the playoffs, and that's kind of the first step, right? So I think like that's a great that example from last year. And obviously we ended up going on and winning in week 18, but it's like, yeah, I'm rooting for Blake, and I love he has great punt snaps, great blocking, field goal snaps, game winners, whatever it is. If he has a game winner, super happy for him. That's like an incredible feeling. I've had a couple in my career. It's like one of the most exciting moments you can ever have, right? To be on the field for a game winner. Am I rooting against the Dolphins? Yes. Is Blake rooting against the Bills? I sure hope so. There's my answer.
And Blake, I mean, you're nodding. I know you agree, but let me ask you when you're on the same field with them now. So you're across the sidelines. You guys are playing. It's a competitive game. And heck, it's week 18. The division's on the line. When Reid runs out there, are you watching Reid? Are you watching the play? How dialed in are you on what's happening in that moment?
I mean, for the most part, I'm out there just like going through the normal, like what a normal game would look like, where if the Bills are punting or whoever the other team is punting to us, I'm over in our kicking net getting snaps because we're about to get the ball back, and I got to be ready to go, here in just a second if we have to punt or if we score a touchdown. And I'm kind of going through the same thing. I'm definitely more in tune to what he's doing. If he's on the field and they're punting or they're kicking an extra point or kicking a field goal, I'm watching him and then I'm doing what I need to do. Just because he's my brother and I want to support him and just, see what he's doing. But at the same time, like I still have a job to do. I got to know where my helmet is. If there's a blocked punt or a blocked kick that's scoop and score and we all of a sudden take it to the crib, and I can't be like so in tune to what, is going on the field that I forget what I'm supposed to be doing. So, but I would say like when we're on the field together, it is a really, really cool experience. And every single time we play, we always take a walk around the field pregame and just like talk about how amazing it is and how fortunate we are to be able to do what we do, like together all the time, like twice, 3 times a year sometimes. And like I don't even know what it is now. It's like 9 times we've played each other. And it's like, it never gets old, being able to share that moment, share that experience with your brother who you grew up talking about playing in the NFL someday with, because, that's what it's all about. Like that, at the end of the day, like championships aside, wins aside, like the memories that I'm going to have are the memories that I have with my teammates and the memories that I'm sharing with my brother and my family in what we're doing right now. You know, and the fact that this year we will have a collective, 14 years in the NFL together. And that like is mind blowing to me. You know, and it was like just not too long ago that we were talking about Reid getting vested, you know, and that was like a huge deal. And now he's going into year 9. I'm going into year 5. Like it is unbelievable. You know, God has blessed us in such an amazing way. And, you know, we're just trying to be good stewards of that, I think.
Blake said about pregame. What about postgame, Reid? I mean, you've had the upper hand here and you've won more games. What's the conversation postgame when you see your brother? What it could be a regular season game or a season-ending loss, like in the playoffs a couple years ago.
It's I honestly I can't remember a time that I've ever even brought up the final score of the game.
Right.
It's all I am going over there to love on him and tell him he did a great job. And we're going to catch up a little bit. Hey, what'd you think about this snap? What'd you think about this snap? You know, maybe catch up a little bit, but it's mostly just
wave Blakely in the stands.
Right. Where's mom and dad? Where are my kids and my family? But it's mostly, you know, loving on each other and just kind of taking in the moment and taking a knee for the prayer circle after. You know, it's very quick. It's less than 5 minutes that we're really out there, so it's brief. But you know, we go back and we shower and then we can kind of catch up a little bit by the buses and stuff. But it's very much enjoying the moment and trying to take it all in, I would say.
Let's end on some fun questions here I got for you guys and with each other's lives and watching each other compete. Let's start with, what is your favorite thing about the other guy's city? When you go to watch them play, I'm talking about off the field. Like, what is your favorite thing? So, Reid, you go first. What's your favorite thing when you go to Miami, South Florida, to watch Blake?
I would say it is probably we normally stay at one hotel down there in Fort Lauderdale, and I normally get like a beach view out of my hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
That is super wonderful to just wake up to on game day and have a nice view of the beach, something that we don't get here in Orchard Park. So every time we go down there, I look forward to doing that. And then usually there's a really good restaurant that we try to go get dinner at. So grabbing dinner in Miami, there's always some great options.
Blake?
Or I guess Fort Lauderdale.
Yep.
The Wecken wings.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, that's like a layup answer,
no doubt, right?
But
where from?
You got a go-to spot, or you just kind of go wherever?
I go to Sports City Pizza Pub.
Yeah, there you go. See, thank you. Great.
Hey,
you have this thing down, this media thing down. There's no doubt.
We had a podcast at one point in time. I know how to shout out sponsors.
Yeah, baby, I love it. I saw you and your dad years ago before you were in the NFL at a Sabres game too. So I know you enjoy you enjoy coming to Buffalo and doing those things.
Going to Sabres games is really fun. But I will say, you know, what's even more fun is watching the Panthers, who are currently beating the Boston Bruins 4-1.
I love that. I'm rooting for the Panthers.
We love some playoff hockey. No, but I did really enjoy going to a couple Sabres games. I do want to go to, is it the Bandits?
Yes.
The lacrosse. Those games look electric.
They are.
With the big cowboy hats and like all the stuff.
Come fly up. They're in the finals. Come fly up next Saturday. I'll be there.
Okay. They're in the finals again, for sure. Yeah, definitely should go to that. I mean, last year they're the defending champs. They beat the Colorado team last year. This year they're against Albany, I believe, is who they're playing against in the championship. They just beat Toronto, so no doubt about that. This one comes from young Max Capaccio. I said, what would you like me to ask Blake and Reid? He said, well, I got 2 questions. He said, ask them what their pregame music is. Like, what do you get hyped on? And I'm like, that's great, because I wonder if they're like the same or a little different. So, all right, Blake, you first this time. What do you like to listen to?
I don't listen to anything after I get to the stadium, but as I'm driving from the hotel to the stadium, it's always country music, and usually it's Cody Johnson.
Why don't you listen to anything when you're there? You just want to go out?
Well, once I get to the stadium, I'm usually just kind of bouncing around doing different things. Go see the chiropractor, and then I go to
Gotcha.
walk the field and do this and that. And I just kind of I've got a routine of different things that I'm doing, and so very seldom am I just like sitting in my locker listening to music.
Gotcha.
I've got a routine where I go out and I'm FaceTiming Abby, or I'm FaceTiming one of my best friends from college who I've literally FaceTimed every game since I started playing in the NFL. Just things like that, that I just don't have a lot of time once I'm actually at the stadium to listen to music.
What do you listen to, Reid?
It's usually a mix of a lot of Chris Stapleton
Okay.
and a lot of an artist. Her name is Lorde, Lorde.
Okay.
It's kind of some slow, just mellow music, just to kind of calm the mind. But I listen to her when I'm stretching, just to kind of level my brain out before kickoff.
Do you know Chris Stapleton's coming to Darien Lake in this summer?
I do know that.
Yeah.
I don't think I will be in town, but I do know that.
Okay, yeah. So someone brought. I'm not a big.
You should, if you've never seen him, you should go see him.
Oh yeah.
He puts on a great concert.
All right. Yeah.
He's playing down here tomorrow night. I think I'm going to go.
Well, there you go. Absolutely. The other one from Max was to ask you guys if you have any superstitions before you play. You got any superstitions? Yeah, Reid,
Yes.
What do you got?
For every morning of a game day, whether it's a 1 o'clock or an evening game, I gotta have some blueberry pancakes.
All right, that's amazing.
Only on game day. Only on game day.
All right. Anything, Blake?
Yeah. So night before is some mint chocolate chip ice cream with some strawberries in it. Shout out Coach McDaniel for bringing the mint chocolate chip ice cream to town. It used to just be chocolate and vanilla. Now he is a big
with strawberries.
Yeah, it's good, dude. You never had a chocolate covered strawberry before, and like the mint is like nice and fresh. It's good.
Wow, sounds really good. I'll tell you that.
Until you try it.
But
so the one other thing, sorry, I've got to
go ahead. Yeah.
The other thing that I do is for home games, I like to go, and when I first get there, change my clothes, I go and sit in the stands and just like kind of take it in. I go and there's like in Miami, there's like some really nice cushy seats right behind the front row and on the front row in both end zones. I go up there and I've got the same little usher lady who always like opens the little door for me, and I go and sit there, and that's when I FaceTime Abby and my buddy Kylie and his son Parker, and I just catch up with them and sort of have my conversation with them, and they wish me good luck, and then I take a lap around the field and back to the locker room. But those are my two things.
Very cool. Reid, the Yankees did win 9-4 final. They just got the final out. So 9-4. So nice win by the Yankees there as we finish up here for another minute or two with the Ferguson brothers, the long snapping brothers, Reid for the Buffalo Bills, Blake for the Miami Dolphins. All right. The schedule comes out next Wednesday. We know that the league is going to play 2 Christmas Day games this year. Would you guys want that? Like, is that something like, please don't put us on Christmas, or do you kind of not care about that? You've played on all different times. You played on Thanksgiving several times, obviously, Reid. You played in the opener. I mean, you guys, Blake, you played in that night game in Kansas City in the playoffs and that time, and obviously the cold weather that happened. So, Blake, would you care if you played on Christmas? Or would you tell the league right here, if you had a chance? I just interviewed Mike North, the head schedule maker, on my podcast last week. If you had a chance, if Mike North was here, would you say, please don't play this on Christmas, or do you not care?
I would say give us a home game if it's going to be a Christmas game.
Okay. All right. How about you, Reid?
I mean,
you played on Christmas 2 years ago, right?
I played on Christmas 2 years ago, and then I played on Christmas Eve last year. Christmas Eve was elite because we had the next day off, and we won. We beat the Cowboys on a game winner, that was like Christmas, like best Christmas gift for sure. So Christmas Eve was awesome. Christmas Day was kind of It was an early game, so that was nice that we just like got the game out of the way and could have the rest of the evening to do Christmas dinner and stuff. I probably wouldn't want to have like a night game or an away game because you don't really get to enjoy it as much. If it's a night game, you're like, doing Christmas gifts that morning, but you're actually like thinking about the game later that day. And then obviously if it's an away game, you're like you're not even in the same, you're like, I don't even realize that there's a holiday, going on. It was like when we traveled for Thanksgiving this year for the Black Friday game.
Yep.
It was, we just like Thanksgiving just didn't
exist.
And that goes back to what Dad was talking about earlier, where like holidays just look different. And so that's like something when Reid and I are both done playing, that like will be super important, at least to me and my sort of side of the family, because I really do love holidays. That like we will be taking big Christmas guy. We'll be taking big advantage of that time that was missed for sure.
You want to play on Christmas, Reid?
I remember watching you guys. I think you were playing Green Bay. Was that 2 years ago on Christmas?
Yeah, because we were on a bus getting back and flying out of Chicago.
I was going to say that was we got stuck in Chicago because Buffalo had the second bad storm of that season. So I was watching it. I was watching your Christmas game on my phone while we were busing from Rochester to Buffalo.
That's right.
Yeah, it
was a lot of fun.
It flurried that day in South Florida. Can confirm. Wow. It was.
I remember you had hoodie. You said you had to get hoodies.
Yeah, I have
a home game.
I have worn a hand warmer for one game in my time in Miami, like at a home game, and it was that Christmas Day game. That was when like the entire country was in negative temperatures. Y'all played, I think, Chicago.
It was negative 30.
Whatever. Yes, it was like 40 degrees in Miami, and it was like kind of chilly for all of us thin blood folks who aren't used to anything below 50 degrees.
Not for everybody. That's okay.
No, but yeah, it was awfully
Reid, would you tell the NFL don't do it? You have kids. It's a little different missing Christmas. I mean, when I missed that day, I had at the time, 8, 9-year-old son who got up and Dad's not there on Christmas morning, opened Santa's gifts with him.
I have I've played on Thanksgiving 3 times and Christmas Eve once. Christmas Eve twice actually. I think we played New England maybe 5 or 6 years ago on Christmas Eve. Yeah. I think it would be. I think what Blake said is spot on. A home game on Christmas would be cool. Yeah. Yeah, I would say a home game would be cool just to kind of add it, that feather in your hat. Hey, I've played on Thanksgiving. I've played on Christmas. I've played on New Year's Day. Played on Halloween. So yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I will say this though about it, and then we can be done. But the more times and more opportunities that we have to play football on TV in front of millions of viewers, the better our league does, and the more money the league brings in, and the more viewers that the league has, the better. And so like they're the ones paying our paychecks, and so I think if that's what it takes, like we only do this for a short amount of time, we can sacrifice a holiday here and there, because it is going back. We are blessed to be able to do what we do, so I'll never complain about a game.
Anybody watching the NFL is loving you right now, Blake. I'll tell you that for saying that. All right, so let's wrap with you guys. You're so good at this. You've done it. You've had this podcast. I don't know if you just discontinued it. You still do it. You don't do it. But whatever it is, is this something you're interested in doing when your post career is done, Reid? Being in the media at all. You're so good at it. A lot of your colleagues and former players, and now there's such a vehicle for guys, as you know, to just kind of have their own thing anyway.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I would say 4 or 5 years ago, my answer would probably be no.
Right.
But after Blake and I kind of did the podcast for 2 years, we did it. About 2 years, and this time last year, when my second was born. We kind of had to put it on pause just because it was tough to find the time, and I wanted to be able to give my full effort and attention to being able to write up a schedule. I call it like a schedule, like a topic schedule.
Sure. Hey, I
and
have the
just
same
being able to
thing.
put enough time. Yeah,
I know.
same thing.
That's
Being
right.
able to put enough time and effort into it to create a product that people want to listen to, because the market, you're right, the market is absolutely there, at all ranges. You don't have to be Pat McAfee to consider yourself successful in the media, right? The kind of the media broadcasting podcast business. So, it's something that I'm definitely interested in. West Hurd has given me a great opportunity
Awesome.
to co-host their sports, their football podcast throughout this upcoming season. So, super thrilled about that opportunity and kind of growing my personal brand, but also growing my experience in
Yeah.
co-hosting with somebody that is not my brother. So, finding guests and writing up topic schedules and stuff like that. I'm very much looking forward to it. So, if the opportunity presents itself to maybe kind of take the Eric Wood route one day, that would be great, and something I would definitely welcome.
How about you, Blake?
I would say definitely. One of my dreams growing up was to be a sports broadcaster. The Mike Tiricos of the world, the Steve Levy's of the world, John Anderson, like the guys that we grew up watching, on TV. I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of those guys and just network with them. And I don't know if doing it at that level is something that I would pursue doing. But I would say there is definitely some future in media, in producing some kind of content, because I do think that we have a really cool story and a really cool, perspective on life that people would like to hear about. And that was sort of the reason we started the podcast. But like Reid said, I want to make sure that when that content goes out, that it's the quality and the product that the people listening deserve, and that we put our stamp of approval on.
I have the same issues sometimes, and I do this for a living. It's not easy always to come up with the right topics. You're in the dog days of the summer, and you want to have creative topics and have a radio show, but you guys are really you're very good at this, and I would tell you that I would give my full endorsement if you wanted to go in and say that I think you're going to be successful. You're going to be successful no matter what you do in your careers and beyond, because of who you are and the people you are and the kids that Kevin Ferguson and Tracy Ferguson raised. Thank you so much for doing this. Do you have anything you want to promote? What do you got going on, Reid? You got Grills Mafia. What do you got going on you want to promote? Take your time for it right here if you want to do that.
Wow. So Grills Mafia is the barbecue brand I started a couple years ago.
Yep.
And but also we've got Grills Mafia is really working in direct connection with Q42, who I am also a partner with.
Awesome.
They're a local Western New York barbecue company. We've got a couple rubs, couple sauces out right now. Q42 Barbecue. That's QUE42BBQ.com. You can Google it. And we've got a really good barbecue rub, a Kansas City style barbecue rub. You can really put on anything. And we've got a Texas, like a brisket, like a beef rub. You can kind of put on anything. A really good barbecue sauce, really good Carolina sauce that just got 6th in the world.
Woo!
Last week. We just found that out. So, and the barbecue rub is the 14th ranked barbecue rub in the world. But we are about to release a brand new South Buffalo themed. Are you familiar with Doc Sullivan's?
I am, and I'm sure you saw, unfortunately, that one of the owners passed away, Tommy, this week.
I just heard that today. So the new chicken rub that we are about to release is based off of their Smitty style buffalo, like the chicken wing recipe. So really excited about that coming out. So check us out.
Blake, you got anything going on?
Yeah. So I just one thing that I wanted to make your folks aware of is a foundation that I've been working with that am trying to help them raise some money, raise some resources for. It's a foundation called Creative Vets. and they are an organization in Nashville, Tennessee. I was introduced to them by some friends of mine in town there. And what they do is they pair up veterans with songwriters in Nashville to tell their story from whatever kind of combat trauma or PTSD or any kind of, suicide attempts, things like that they are going through. And it's really therapeutic for a lot of them to be able to tell that story in a way that they've never been able to tell it to the people closest to them. And it's an organization I've supported for the last couple of years. They do a phenomenal job. They're making their way into podcasting. They're making their way into visual art. But the big part of what they do is that songwriting thing. They actually put a lot of those songs out on Spotify and Apple Music. There's a record label in town that has given them a lot of money to be able to record that music and produce that music. But yeah, Creative Vets, they're a phenomenal veteran organization. For your folks who are listening, I would love it if y'all looked into that and consider giving financially or just listening to their songs, because every time you listen to their song on Spotify or Apple Music, they get streaming money for that.
CreativeVets.com. I'm looking at their .org. Excuse me. I'm looking at their website right now. It's CreativeVets.org. Well, listen, Reid, you know how I feel about you. We've developed a really great relationship, I think, over the years, and I really respect you and how you handle your business. And you've been through different coaches and regimes, and you've always been just a constant guy and a great guy in the locker room. So thank you so much for that. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
Coming up. And Blake, really, really have loved getting to know you. And listen, man, I got to tell you, I grew up in Buffalo despising the Miami Dolphins. I despise. So it takes a lot for me to root for Miami Dolphin, but you're a guy I'm always going to root for, and I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you, man. I appreciate you having us on. This has been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see you at Sports City soon.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be there for sure. Thanks a lot to Sports City Pizza Pub, 1407 Niagara Street in Buffalo. Go on down there. Pizza, wings, got all the games, baseball, football, basketball, hockey. It's playoff time. Make sure you check them out, Sports City Pizza Pub. Thanks a lot to Kevin Ferguson, Reid and Blake's dad, for joining us as well. Always the Sal's House podcast and videocast is right here at the Sal Sports YouTube channel. So check it out. Thank you very much for watching.